What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Sanchez 405 coming at you. It's on the Warpath. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime there's new content posted to the channel. And as always, like, comment, share this video out. So we're talking Washington football, but we also going to talk a little bit more because we have one of the best in the business here. The man, get ready for the experience, the Travis Thomas experience. Travis is here with us, and for a long time, him and one Quentin Mayo were the only reasons why I watched the Wizards at the only time. Travis, I'm proud that I'm happy to have you on here. I'm honored to have you on here, my friend. How you doing?
Boy, I would have loved to cover the Wizards when they're doing what they're doing now. Thank you. Thank you for that intro, man. I told you off air. I'm going to tell you on air for the record. I'm a huge fan of the show. I watch them. I check you out all the time. And my favorite part, your show's dope. Don't get me wrong. But your intro animation is so good.
I appreciate it.
Did you do that?
I have a website that I do it through. I just got it all together. That's all.
Allow me to take a second here. He's being humble. For those of you at home, what he just said, translation in French, is he's talented as all hell. That's amazing, man. I think you do a great job. I'm going to get you to make me an intro soon. I need something.
I'll do my best for you. For real. That is great, man. Dude, but I mean, we listen to you. You can listen to Travis 9 a.m. to noon on the Team 980, or you can listen on the Radio 1 app. And I think it's 24 hours if you miss it on the rewind on there, right? Every show in 24 hours. Okay.
Yeah, so, I'm sick of me at this point. I keep hearing me on a loop in my head. It's driving me nuts.
Hey, man, you got some good stuff on there. And, you know, we'll jump right into it. And probably the biggest news so far this week is it seems like all Hades has broken loose with Alex Smith. And I don't know if it's just the injury or whatever, but he comes out in GQ. He has the article, which really wasn't recorded, which I found was odd. And now he's coming out with this video where he's responding to Twitter comments and everything like throughout social media. So first question, what in the world, what were your thoughts when you saw all this coming out?
I was in a glass case of emotion. Alex Smith took me on an emotional roller coaster. I just wanted to get off the whole week. At the beginning of the week, when this crap came out, I said on air, I said, this feels really out of character. This doesn't match the Alex Smith brand that we saw drafted first overall and go to San Francisco and go through the ups and downs. Remember, he had injuries early, and then when he did get in, he underperformed for a while. It wasn't until Harbaugh got there, the other Harbaugh, right? Got that, the one that keeps losing at Michigan, but it's not about him. It's not about him. He's a genius, right? But anyways, as I was see what happened?
Man. Hey, look, no, I'm telling you, you think about it, he's probably the only coach that could turn Dwayne Haskins into a winner.
That's a great point. But so hey, listen, you make a point there. I can't argue that. But the thing is, the whole time, he's on brand to this nice guy. He says the right stuff. Harbaugh gets him to play better. And then, you know, he lost his job to Kaepernick. Then he goes to KC. He grooms Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he played, people forget, before Mahomes got there, Alex Smith was playing on an extremely high level. And so, you know, he loses his job to Mahomes, but he taught him, and he was classy the whole time. Comes here, gets hurt. We don't think the guy will even play again. Comes back from that. I mean, his brand is just class personified, overcoming the odds, over-delivering, overachieving, okay? And so at first, I just felt like it was out of character, and then I didn't hear anything from him or his camp, and I thought, oh, he really meant that stuff. You know how 50 Cent says, he did that stuff. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. I was like, oh, he meant that. And then you see he comes out, reports per JP Finley, my boy. He said, oh, well, the GQ writer doesn't understand football. What the hell does that have to do with anything? You know what he didn't say? He didn't apologize.
No.
He didn't say where there's smoke, There's no fire. He didn't say any of that. He said he blamed it on the writer. Again, out of character for Alex Smith. He's out of here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a done deal from there. And, I just thought about Alex and some of the things that happened to him throughout the season. What left a bad taste in my mind, and I even said this on this channel, after we get blown out by the Rams by 20 points, and there's this video of him, and I'm like, we're not trying to win football games. We're trying to make Lifetime movies. This is the CBS Saturday night movie coming out here. Iron or steel leg, the Alex Smith story, and that's what I'm like. I don't think Ron is about that as much, and that's what I think is kind of killing him. And you could see he was kind of salty towards the later half of the season dealing with Alex Smith and everything. You can see in some of his comments, he had a little sass behind it.
Well, I think because while we all admire what he's been through, and we're certainly not mocking what he went through, through a real trauma, right? And he came back from it. To me, I would like to see the credits roll and the fade to black on he comes back, he comes in the game, he plays pretty good, and fade to black. We're good. The issue is, I think Washington football team thinks the same thing. They think the same way I do. We saw the movie. We loved it. We don't need the sequel. We want to move on. And I think if Ron got sassy with him at all, I don't think it was with him personally. I think it was because the best ability is availability.
Right.
And if you're quarterback, you don't know whether or not he can finish the race. What do you have? And then, the future of your franchise turned out to be a knucklehead. So, I think he was dealt a tough hand. There's no excuses this upcoming season with this offseason. They can do something about it at that position. But I think Alex Smith, sayonara, thanks for everything. We wish you luck. Go be a backup in Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, because we know that's where you're going to end up.
Oh, man, that's cold-blooded. So, we talk about the quarterback situation, and a lot of people are Heineke heaven. We're breaking green glass bottles all over DC after a Devin Smithless Tampa Bay team gave up 23 points to us. And I know you're a big fan of one quarterback, and I kind of know where you're going, but I want you to answer for the audience. Do you roll with Heineke? And if not, who do you bring in, or who do you want to see here?
First of all, you're saying it all wrong. It's Heineke.
I'm not giving a flash in the pan all that credit just yet. If he wins, if he starts out like 3-0 next year as a starter, I'd be like, Heineke. I'd be like Bruce Lee, karate movie, just the whole time. So
listen, man, I got to tell you something. A flash in the pan. You call me cold-blooded for what I said about Alex. You're cold-blooded.
Stop it. Stop it.
Flash in the pan. Let me tell you something. You watch football. You're a football fan.
Yes,
you don't remember Kurt Warner bagging groceries in the Piddly Widdly, and then the next second you look up and he's in Canton, Ohio.
Oh man! So you say he gonna get why he's in the Hall of Fame, NFL Network? I'm kidding. That's disrespectful to Kurt. But hey,
put up the numbers.
He did. And I made the joke about we made the joke on here about Heineke. Before November, most people were making more money than Taylor Heineke was, and now he's got that contract and everything. But I think one of the things he said in his press conference that kind of struck me, and maybe I'm digging too much into this, is the fact that he was saying that he's going to scale back the aggressiveness. I'm like, that's what got you the job here.
Yeah, listen, I took a lot from that press conference as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually on air that day when the news broke that he resigned, and we took the press conference live. So I did like a half an hour straight on him just as we led up to the press conference. And so I listened to every sentence of that thing. And I got to tell you, I heard that too. I didn't love it, but I also think he was just saying, I have to be, what did we just talk about? Available.
That's
I
right.
have to be available, and I can't be so reckless like I maybe was in that wild card game. He was literally playing for a job. Now he has the job. I think what he's saying is I need to balance playing the way I play, but not being reckless and getting hurt and costing my team, because he's either going to win the starting job or be a backup. We understand that, or they wouldn't have signed him. So I believe he will have a chance to play. But listen, for me, I really like the kid. A lot of the stuff I heard in the press conference, I liked. He deflected any credit at all. He was very humble, as we would expect. And I mean, to me, I just think he's a competitor. I think he understands this doesn't mean he's a starter. He's going to have to earn it and fight and scratch and claw for it, which is what he's been doing his whole career. Look, depending who comes in here, brother, I think he could win that job. Now, if we don't know what that third party is going to be. If that third party comes in, we'll have this conversation again. But as we sit here right now with Heineke, Allen, and player X, we'll call him, I like Heineke's chances.
Okay. And so if you were the general manager or Ron Rivera, whoever, who's player X for you? Who are you looking at?
You said earlier
I know where you're going.
So you're baiting. You are a great host.
Come on now.
You're a great host. Here's what we'll do, just so you got to throw out another line. Who do you want as player X?
Oh, I'm petty. I want one Rain Dakota Prescott. Pay him the money. Bring him in here. Because you know what? Yes, I must say it. Because I want to rub this in Dallas fans for the rest of his career. Your owner couldn't get y'all's quarterback that y'all love so much. And now look at him. Look at that beautiful burgundy and gold running up and down the field on y'all. What's that, Terry McLaurin? Oh, that's right. Oh, what? Cam Sims can actually catch now? What?
All right. So what are you willing to give up to get him?
And this is all intended on if he hits the free agency market. I'm not going to go out there and push him. Now, if you got to pay him, I know I'm crazy, but
you would pay him.
I'd pay him. I would. I think that he has shown that he can do what needs to be done. And I think he's been the best quarterback in the NFC East for a long time. I said this about Carson Wentz. The worst thing that happened to Carson Wentz was the Eagles won the Super Bowl, because he became the most emasculated, I think, professional athlete of probably the last decade. They win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, who couldn't do anything. He couldn't even catch a bag of groceries or throw a bag of groceries at one time. And then they make the dilly statue of Dougie P and Nicky Foles right there outside of the brink or the link, whatever they call it. I call it the jailhouse. Right. So yeah, but
listen, I don't think you're crazy, man. I actually think Dak to Seattle for Russell Wilson makes sense. I think we could see that. You swap quarterbacks, and then obviously Seattle's going to get a boatload of picks, right?
Right.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It was on Russell Wilson's list anyways. But listen, I think Dak's a really good quarterback. I think someone will pay him, so you may be right. I'm not sure if it's Dallas or not. I think they're just going to play the Kirk Cousins game with him.
Oh, gosh.
But my guy, as you reel me in here, listen, I can just tell you're willing to write blank checks. You're like, how much is the bill? Here you go, and it's over. Let me tell you, as your GM, let me tell you how I'm going to be on the books, okay? I'm a bean counter, baby. I want to know how everything goes. We ain't cheap. We're frugal. We ain't cheap. We're inexpensive. We ain't balling. We balling on a budget. So I'm going to get Marcus Mariota, and I'm going to pay him too. But I'm not going to pay him as much as Dak with we don't know what ankle he's working with right now. I'm going to pay half of that to Marcus Mariota, who I watched win a Heisman and break records at a big conference in college. I watched him get drafted second overall and go to a town that needed him to be larger than life. That's not his personality. He gave them production. He took them to the playoffs. They went to the playoffs 3 straight years. I mean, listen, he has playoff experience and a winning record in the playoffs. To me, I think the guy is a dual threat, and he's just really, really quiet, which we're not used to seeing from our stars. It's weird when we get it from Kawhi Leonard in basketball. It's even more weird to get it from a quarterback who has to, communicate.
Right.
But I think if he comes here, Chase Young is the heartbeat of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Young is the emotional, spiritual leader of this team. So I think Marcus Mariota could come here and just be productive. We don't need you to say jack shnikes, okay? Keep your mouth shut, run, throw, lead us to the promised land, baby. And Chase Young will lead this team. When I started my career, brother, I started in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And those Ravens teams I covered, I mean, you got to be kidding me. The quarterback never mattered. They had God rest his soul, but they had an older Steve McNair at the end of his career.
That's right.
And he still went 13-3. I still was covering playoff games. Steve McNair wasn't the leader of that team, and that was Steve McNair. It was Ray Lewis.
Sugar Ray.
It was Ed Reed. It was the defense. That was the brand. That was the identity. We're going to play defense, run the ball, and quarterback X. Don't lose it for us, and we're going home with a dub.
and you bring up an interesting point. I don't know if you know this or not, but Marcus Mariota is the last quarterback to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, not named Tom Brady.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, so you kind of got you're selling me on Marcus Mariota. I'm buying with you, but then when you say you're frugal, though, and I know the wagering man that you are, and I'll tell you this, like I told you on your show one time, scared money don't make money. So
Joe did say that.
I told you. I said he gave me an in. So I said I'm gonna bust the doors open. But it kind of cycling back, looking at the 2020 season and looking at what this team accomplished. And I think it was just the biggest up, down, down, and then. So my thing is, give me your emotions throughout the whole season, and then what was the turning point? What was was there a play? Was there a moment that or were there multiple turning points for you?
No, there was one turning point. It was one game in particular, but up until that point, I was an absolute hater, pessimist, not impressed, profitable better because I believed in the defense, and I felt like Ron would just add to the defense anyway. Just Ron, right? That's what you think of with Ron Rivera's toughness, grit. He played defense, so I believed in the defense. So I would bet against Washington football team every single week to lose, but I would bet on the game to be close because I knew the defense would do that. So it was a weird thing, as you said. It was up and down season. Even for me personally covering them, it was like this team stinks in my head, but I mean they're pretty damn tough, which tells you a ball here, a bounce there, a call here, an injury there. I kind of thought they could be in the mix, but they're always in the mix, and then they missed the playoffs. I mean, we're used to that around here, where they're in the mix till about December, and then they fall off a cliff. So, I was just kind of negative. I was just down on them a little bit. And then the turning point was the Pittsburgh game. That was the first game. People don't remember this. It was on at a weird time. It was kind of one of those, like, if you weren't a football fan, you weren't really watching that game. It was like it wasn't like a prime time type situation. So only people that wanted to see it saw it, right?
Right.
And the defense was, they looked like a Super Bowl defense that day to a team that hadn't lost and looked really good. I mean, that was the moment I said, that was a playoff game that no one's watching? Oh, everyone's at work? It's a Tuesday at 4? Okay. Well, listen, I'm just over here watching a Super Bowl defense. If anyone cares, just beat the only undefeated team in the league. Big Ben, maybe you heard of him? No? Okay.
No. And I think that was because, you think about it, we beat the Steelers before it was popular. Because I don't think they may have won one game after that, if I'm not mistaken. And a lot of those games weren't even close, but I'm right there with you. And it was weird how Fox laid that out. They made it regional, and I don't get Washington games because I'm technically in a Tennessee market. So they didn't put it on, and like everybody around us had the game. So it was like really weird and watch on delay. And then I thought of Kurt Schilling in that bloody sock. Yep. When we saw Alex's leg, I said, ain't no way in the world we're going to lose this game. Ain't no way in the world.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
Being in the market where you're at, you get to watch Derrick Henry a lot. What do you think?
That's a bad man. That's a bad man. And all the animosity that I had towards Josh Norman became prayer. Even though that play didn't count, it became prayer. And I said, I didn't know. I didn't know in your lifetime you could get baptized twice. That's just all. And I didn't even know Derrick Henry had a degree in divinity to do that. So, I was just like, oh, okay. Man, he's back. He is the team. He's the quarterback, the wide receiver. Heck, he's Mike Vrabel's assistant head coach on offense.
You know what? You'll love this joke that I always say. I'm telling people I'm betting heavy on the Jaguars next year. And you say, well, what are you thinking? I said, listen, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, almost overnight, assuming Deshaun Watson gets moved, to me, Trevor Lawrence might be the best quarterback in the damn division. We're not sure about Carson Wentz.
Oh, my gosh.
Carson Wentz is fragile and sensitive. You got to be careful. You don't want to upset Carson Wentz. So we don't know what he's about. But I'm going to tell you, Trevor Lawrence might be the best quarterback in the division overnight and the second best quarterback in the division and the reigning best quarterback in the division, the second Deshaun leaves, is Derrick Henry because he does everything. He lines up under center and takes the ball. He's the best quarterback in the division. He's the best running back in the division. He's the best wide receiver in the division. He's the best assistant coach in the division.
Amy, she might be selling him a part of the team this year too. He's gonna be.
She should give it to him.
Minority owner.
Literally.
Oh gosh. Resurrected Tannehill's career and all that good stuff. So, but that's what I want. We've never really had a running back of that caliber here that I can think of. I know Clinton was kind of like that, but I think Stephen Davis was more on the lines of that physical back. And you think about when Marty Schottenheimer was here, and that's all Marty did was run. He's like runabout, power. And that's what kind of, if we have somebody that was just that could tote the rock here in Washington, it would have been Stephen. Yeah,
I agree with you there. I was a big fan of his too. I even think back to, a little older than that. Terry Allen was a ball player. I thought I liked his game a lot. I grew up in like the Ricky Irvins era, Brian Mitchell. I mean, there's been a lot of really good backs here. I'm a Clinton Portis fan personally because I think he was more of the modern day back. What I liked about Clinton, he could run between tackles. He had enough explosiveness where if he reached that second level of the defense, he could outrun you or run you over. I thought he had good hands out of the backfield. And then what I didn't learn from watching the game, what I learned after covering the game and becoming friends with a Santana Moss, becoming friends with a Clinton Portis, getting around these guys and being in story time. I became friends with Fred Smoot, Sean Springs. I mean, when these guys get together, they talk about memories and times and ball. And all of them to a man swears to me Clinton Portis was the best blocking running back.
Oh, there ain't no lie. That's no lie. I'll never forget. It's been a couple of times. I remember it might have been Dallas or somebody. And I mean, he turned somebody. He like basically just went, man's coming at him like this, and then he's like, boom. Block. And that is one thing. He is one of the best blockers, running backs that I've seen that could do both of them. And I think Liddell Betts benefited from him that one year when he got that contract and Clinton was hurt. I think Liddell benefited from that. Now, were you part of the Hennessy Club when Jim Zorn was trying to pray for them boys and everything like that, and they was trying to have their old hen dog?
Now, I don't go back as far to their – I met them post-career.
Yeah.
Well, Tana, I think, was on it in like his last years. But, you know, I mean, I've met him through the media. And what happens, and you know this, I mean, meet people like me and you. This would be a great example. Me and you didn't know each other from Adam. And we linked up because we admire each other from afar. And we're doing this now together. You've been a part of my show.
Yes, sir.
Now, it could stop there and we could just be cool and acquaintances, or we could build a friendship off of it, right? And so what happens, I interview so many players and coaches and media members and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, some of them become friends. Most of them, you know, it's just business and it's cool. We keep a cool, you know, vibe together. But I was fortunate enough, you know, to get around those guys, and they brought me in as a friend, man. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I love what you and Santana did with the podcast about 3 or 4 years ago. I actually was at the Giants game, the last Giants game at home. And I actually got to take a picture with Santana. I said, dude, I love it. I love what y'all are doing. I said, that dude, Travis, and y'all make a good combination. And y'all did a great job. It was hilarious. And I missed that. I miss watching that on here sometimes. But
I appreciate that. I don't know if you're a big music fan or not, but Santana's favorite group is Outkast. And
okay.
So in our friendship, as we got to know each other, I knew he loved Outkast, and that was something we shared. And, you know, when he approached me to do the podcast, I never told him this, by the way. But I thought this. When he approached me to do the podcast, I thought, okay, he's Andre 3000. He's a Gemini. He's very, you know, fans don't get to see this side of Tana, but he's very eclectic. He's very earthy. He's a deep thinker. You know, so he's the type to have some Erykah Badu playing and some incense burning. You understand what I'm saying?
I got you.
And matter of fact, sidebar, one day I drove his Range Rover. He was like, hey, hop in the Range and bring it to blah, blah, blah. I was like, ooh. He said, hop in your Range? And he was like, yeah. I said, all right. So I got in this pretty thing, this Range Rover. Dog, you can learn a lot about somebody when you get in their car and they're not there. And the first music you hear tells you a lot about the person.
Right.
So I got in, bro. I promise you, the volume was max, right? And it was straight R&B. It was like Keith Sweat, like what?
Oh man, that's awesome.
And old Keith Sweat too, bro. Like, how deep is your like New Jack City Keith Sweat? I was like, what is going on? So, anyways, as I was saying, he's very Andre 3000, very artistic. So I said, well, what makes Big Boy, in my opinion, special in the group of Outkast? And it's his consistency. He always delivers, always. If he doesn't have the best verse on the song, you can be damn sure he don't have the worst. And as up in space Andre 3000 is, Big Boy is also in his own way. And I almost think it's a little more relatable. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to really put the spotlight on Tana in terms of, because you know me, man. I mean, I'm doing it here. I talk for a living. All I do is run my mouth. But what I tried to do with him was be a facilitator. It was be consistent every time I talked and bring the energy and do what I do, but really make sure, you know, his name was on that show. It was the Santana Moss podcast, right? So basically, I saying I was big boy is really a pat on my own back. But in the reality, I was like a really good looking Pip to Gladys Knight or Tito to Michael.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, y'all brought the energy. I knew it. Y'all fed off of each other. And they, like I say, it's good. And y'all, I'm pretty sure it's still on YouTube somewhere. Just look up the Santana Moss show and go back and look at. And I think who's y'all's first guest was Fred Smoot, wasn't it? I think that's who y'all's first. I think it was Smoot.
You know what? I'm pretty sure we almost got to like 75 or 50.
Yeah,
somewhere in their episodes. They were all so good. I can't remember the first one to save my ass, but I tell you what. If you go back and you watch 1 through 60 or whatever it is, all of them are amazing.
Yeah, you're gonna be in pain after the end of it. I'm gonna tell you because you'll laugh too hard from this. But you know where I think Santana probably bought that album from or whatever. Maybe he might have bought some speakers from Amazon. And Jeff Bezos, he's doing his due diligence in the looking into maybe buying those minority stocks in the team. What do you think this would do for Washington in as far as, I guess, the long game, as reputation of a franchise and a business going forward if he were to buy that 40%?
I don't know. I mean, when I start talking about other people's money, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, especially guys that have more money than I'll ever see in my life. I mean, listen, I just want you to know, if I become a billionaire at just circumstance, I'm going to be the most obnoxious billionaire you ever seen. I'm crashing both of their parties. I mean, I'm going to ask Bezos, what's up with Prime? It's been late. Let's get it together. Listen, here's the bottom line. I want fans to calm down about this stuff, okay? I assure you. Whoever owns the Washington football team, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to get this name together and figure it out and try to make you happy. Then they're going to move back to the district and try and make you happy. Then they're going to try and figure out this quarterback thing so they can win games, get into the playoffs again. I don't know. Call me crazy. Let's add another Lombardi to the trophy case. Throw another Lombardi on the Barbie. Right? And try and make you happy.
Hey, man, that's the only thing. That's the only thing that matters is getting them rings there. And maybe we can do it. And I think this team is kind of built for it. The one thing you talked about today, actually, on the show was this roster. And this roster going into a good direction. And the one thing I look at this roster is there is speed everywhere. There is speed everywhere. And since it's building in the right direction, how long do you think this will take if you put the right people in places to maybe get back to competing and then possibly get into a Lombardi trophy?
I think what they do this offseason will determine that, quite frankly. The window, my friend Dominique Foxworth was the first one I heard to say this. And I think he said on ESPN. Mm-hmm. It might have been his show, though. I can't remember because he has a show people need to check out. I actually helped produce that show for a long time. It's called I Don't Give a Damn, and it's on the undefeated.com. I helped produce that show. I did a lot of voiceover work on that show. Okay. Go check that out. But Fox was the first one I heard say, listen, Washington football team has a championship window, and it's open now. And I think he's absolutely right. I mean, I say this offseason because I'd like to see Sheriff back. I'd like to see a little more depth in the offensive line. I think you can do that in free agency. And then I'm cool with a quarterback. You know who I want, but I'm cool with you spending a little something to get somebody, or potentially trading up from 19 to that 12 to 15 range, which is doable. You're not going to have to give up a ton to do that, and take a quarterback. I think I'm out on your plan. I think I'm out on a Dak or a Russell Wilson or Deshaun, or I'm out on big game hunting. But okay. I think I'll say this, if you go my route, if you go my frugal route, mm-hmm. if you get it right, whether it's that decision or it's Heineke, I don't believe Allen. I'll give Heineke a glimmer of hope. If you get it right and you do the other things I said, you could use another receiver. But this receiver core in the draft is pretty deep. You maybe could get one in the second round, to be honest. So they have to nail the draft all through the picks and make get a little depth, bring back Sheriff. I think we'll see about the quarterback. I think they can make a deep run next year. I mean, who in the NFC scares you other than Brady? And, it's really hard to repeat. We see that. So the NFC is wide open to me.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And, it's kind of interesting. You don't really have a lot of young quarterbacks in the NFC. Kyler Murray, that's probably about it when you look at and Jared Goff he's kind of in that mid-range now.
I'd still consider him young. Daniel Jones is young. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is young.
Yeah. Like these guys who are just effective and everything. I mean, Daniel Jones is effective for the other team, but not when he plays Washington. He plays like he's all world. But I mean, it seems like all these young cats, the elite young cats right now are in the AFC. So to your point, it's wide open in the NFC. But you talk about trading up to from 19 to maybe 12 or anything. Who do you have your eyes on? Maybe if that trade happens, what quarterback are you looking at? Maybe.
I mean, I like two of them in particular. If I had my preference, I like both Justin Fields in this order. I like Justin Fields, and then I like Trey Lance. But listen, I'm not going to hate on Mac Jones. I feel like most fans think he'll be there in our range and really like him. Mac Jones took all my money this college football season, so I'm done betting against him. I bet against him against Texas A&M. I bet against him against Florida. I bet against him against Georgia, and he burned me every time. So I will caution. He's a statue. He doesn't move. He's like that throwback to when Tom Brady first started, and every quarterback in the league was a pocket passer, right? So he's a throwback in that way. I like Fields and Trey Lance because they can move a little better. But I'll just caution Washington football team fans to this. As a college football junkie that I am, there are a ton, I'm telling you, a ton of really solid quarterbacks that no one's talking about. Kyle Trask at Florida is a big physical specimen, 6'5", 240, stands big, can move, stands big, strong arm, takes hits, get up. He feels like a pro to me. And then the other one, to be honest with you, is Kellen Mann out in Texas A&M. Slender cat, a little smaller than Trask, a little shorter too, but decent size on him, but is slippery. He kind of plays how he's built. He's slippery. He can run. He's smooth in the passing game. He's kind of an RPO type of guy. My only caution with him is I didn't see it long enough. He had to get a really good coach before he played well. Before, when they had crappy coaches, he was crappy. Okay, so I don't trust that. Kind of feels like maybe a system guy. But if Kyle Turner is the genius that everyone's telling me he is and shoving it down my face, then he should be able to do something with a kid like that.
Scott, I had some problem with him at the beginning of the year. He always talked about this.
I said Kyle Turner.
My bad. He always said his offense was more cerebral than Norv's. And then I said at the beginning of the season, I was like, it looks like he forgot one part of that. It was hemorrhaging, cerebral hemorrhaging offense. But it seemed like they got it together. And I mean, if we get a young quarterback, run the ball. Don't get in these fits where you don't run the ball. That I think that was my biggest frustration with this offense. They did more with less than anybody did. Logan Thomas, I mean, my goodness, this dude was one of my favorite players to watch. I might have a bias because he's from Virginia, but he was fun to watch last year.
Yeah, I'll tell you something too. And talking about this with you,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can, bring in some young talent here, especially at that position. I go back to something you said about having a guy that can tote the rock. And I love Antonio Gibson, but I got to tell you something. If later in the draft, if I can find, and running backs don't get drafted as high.
Right.
So you can find one. Ask the Colts about who they got from Wisconsin that I was telling everyone, this kid's the next Bo Jackson. No one would listen to me. Now look what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, if the Washington football team can get a specific back, I don't need Mr. Do Everything. Antonio can do that. Give me a guy that can run between the tackles and smash somebody in the mouth. If you can give me that guy and put him with whatever we do at quarterback, that's going to only enhance that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Antonio Gibson doing everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then if you can get another wide receiver to help this offense, it would be in tip-top shape. And about the wide receivers and everything, looks like they may go after a wide receiver in free agency or maybe even the draft. Do you have your eye on somebody that's like, you know what, this guy would be pretty good here in Washington, maybe, let's say, via free agency?
Who do you think? You know the biggest free agent. You think I don't want that guy? I'm like you now. I'll give him a blank check.
Oh, you're going to get Allen Robinson a blank check?
What? Would I? I give him a blank check before I give Dak. It's still going to save me more paper than what you're giving. You're going to have me out there washing cars in a bikini to make money because I can't afford anything.
Hello. There's a crazy man. There's a crazy man over here right now. Please, somebody come and save me.
No one's coming. No one's coming. I shut down all the phone lines.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, man. Oh, God. I need help. I'm gonna be like T.O. I'm gonna have to put my shades on and be like, I want my quarterback.
Hey, listen, I gotta tell you something, man. I gotta go because I gotta go get my kids. They ruined my life. But listen, I think we gotta take this show on the road. This combination is so lethal, you and I.
Yes, sir.
Mean, we're like the Splash Brothers, baby. I'm over here like Klay Thompson, healthy Klay Thompson, hitting threes, and you're Steph Curry, baby, chefing it up.
I appreciate it, man. Travis, thank you so much for coming on here. Y'all check out Travis Thomas. He's on the Team 980, 9 to noon, Monday through Friday, at the Travis Thomas Experience, wherever social media is. Check this man out. He's hilarious. He's a good dude. He will let you talk on his show. Yeah. And that is very unique and one of the humblest dudes. And I know definitely he's going to be back on here. We've got a friend of the show now. Well, as always, I'm Sanchez 405. Love, peace, and hell, y'all. I'll be talking to you real soon. I'm out.